All right, getting ready for a mind development engineer interview, huh? That's awesome. We're going to dive deep into RoleCatcher's guides today, help you really nail it.
Yeah, they've got some great
We're
resources.
talking typical interview questions, insights into career paths, even some cool AI tools they offer.
What I really like about RoleCatcher is they don't just give you generic advice. They get into the specifics of the role,
Exactly.
give you a clear picture of what employers are looking for and how you can really show off what you know.
So let's kick things off by understanding the role itself. What exactly does a mind development engineer do, and why is this a career worth going after?
You can think of it as like the architect of those huge underground operations.
Okay.
You're designing and overseeing the development of mines, making sure everything runs smoothly and safely, from cross-cutting and tunneling to getting those resources out. It's in
Hmm.
high demand, too. Rollcatcher's data shows about 3% job growth over the next 10 years.
Wow.
And the salary potential is pretty great, but it's not easy.
Yeah, I imagine.
It's demanding. You need some serious technical skills and a deep understanding of safety and sustainability.
Okay, so no just messing around in Minecraft in real life then.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, RoleCatcher's guide lists some common interview questions, so let's jump right into those. First one, explain your experience with designing and implementing mind development plans.
Okay.
How can someone tackle this without just listing every project they've worked on?
It's all about showing them your process. You want to walk them through how you approach a new project, what factors you take into account, and what steps you take to make sure it's successful.
Okay.
Don't just say you're a good problem solver. Give them a concrete example, like maybe there was a project with unexpected geological challenges,
Right.
and you had to adjust your design. Explain how you assessed the situation, what solutions you considered, and how you overcame the obstacle.
So it's almost like a mini case study,
Yeah, exactly.
highlighting not just what you did, but how you thought about it.
Right. And remember to showcase those core skills RoleCatcher talks about, like your technical knowledge, being good with industry software like Vulkan or MindSight, and being able to clearly explain your ideas.
Makes sense.
This is also where your portfolio can really stand out. Bring visuals to show off your work.
Oh, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've covered the design process. Next question. How do you ensure safety and sustainability are prioritized in mind development projects? Now, everyone says safety first, but how do you show you're not just saying that?
You got to go deeper than just saying safety first. Talk about specific strategies and methods you've used. Maybe you put a new ground control system in place that really lowered risks, or you found a way to minimize waste rock.
Mm-hmm.
Mentioning things like having an MSHA certification, that's the Mine Safety and Health Administration, can also help.
Right, it shows you're serious about it.
Exactly.
So it's about proving you're not just aware of the concepts, but you've actively put them into practice in your work.
Yeah.
Now, this next one sometimes trips people up. How do you ensure mind development projects are completed on time and within budget?
The classic time and budget question.
Yeah.
This is where you get to show off your project management skills. Again, be specific. What tools and methodologies do you use to track progress, manage resources, and spot potential problems? Have you ever had a project that was going off track?
Oh, I'm sure everyone has at some point.
Right, exactly. And that's great to talk about. Explain how you identified the issue, how you adjusted, and how you got things back on course. Don't be afraid to talk about those challenges.
Yeah, it shows you can handle things when they go wrong.
It shows you can learn and adapt.
And if you have a certification like a professional engineer license, that definitely demonstrates your commitment to this side of the job.
Absolutely. It shows you're serious about those industry standards.
Okay, question 4. What experience do you have with geotechnical assessments and analysis? This one seems pretty technical.
It is, but it's also a great chance to show off what you know. Be prepared to discuss the different types of assessments you've done, the software you've used, things like Leapfrog Geo or Rock Science, and any tough geotechnical issues you've tackled. Even when you're talking about technical stuff, try to make it relatable.
Right.
Explain why your findings matter in a way that someone who's not a geotechnical expert can understand.
Don't get lost in all the jargon.
Right, exactly.
Make it clear why it matters.
Yeah.
And since we're on the topic of technical skills, let's go to question 5. Can you discuss your experience with mind design software?
Sure.
What should people focus on here?
This is where you list the specific software you're good at, like Deswick or Carlson, and explain how you've used them in real projects. Be honest about your experience, Don't say you're a master if you've only used a program a couple of times.
Right.
Instead, focus on what you're really comfortable with and can talk about in detail. They might even ask you to compare different programs.
Oh, interesting.
So be ready to explain the pros and cons of each.
So it's about showing them that you're not just clipping buttons, you understand the tools.
Exactly.
All right, this next one seems like a good opportunity to really stand out. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a complex technical issue during a mine development project?
Oh, yeah, this is a classic tell me about a time question.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect chance to use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result.
Can you break that down for people who might not be familiar with it?
Sure. It's a way to structure your answer to those behavioral interview questions. So you start by describing the situation you were in, then the task you had to do,
Right.
then explain the action you took, and finally the result.
I like that. It makes it easy to follow.
Yeah, it helps you tell a clear story.
So for this question, you'd pick a challenging technical issue you faced,
Right.
walk them through how you solved it step by step, and then explain the positive outcome you achieved.
Exactly. Don't just tell them what you did. Explain why you chose that approach and what you learned from it.
So they're looking for insights into your thought process, not just a list of technical fixes.
Yeah. And RoleCatcher emphasizes that you should highlight those core abilities: judgment, critical thinking, and analysis. It's not just about finding a solution, it's about how you got there.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I'm curious about how RoleCatcher's AI tools come into play here.
Yeah.
Can they actually help you prepare for these kinds of questions?
They can. Their AI can analyze job descriptions and figure out what key skills and experiences employers are looking for. And then it can suggest ways to tweak your answers so they're tailored to each specific job.
So it's like having a personalized interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly.
Wow.
It can also give you feedback on how you're speaking, like your tone and pace, to make sure you sound confident and clear.
That's pretty amazing. So it's like a virtual assistant helping you craft the perfect response.
Yeah, pretty much. Welcome back to our deep dive on how to ace that mind development engineer interview. We've already tackled some tough questions, but let's keep digging into RoleCatcher's guide.
Okay, I'm ready for more. What's next on the list?
Question number 7 asks about your experience with mine infrastructure design and construction. This is where you show them you understand the big picture.
So it's not just about digging the holes, it's about all the systems that make a mine actually work.
Exactly. Think about ventilation systems, transportation networks, power supply, even communication infrastructure. Be prepared to discuss the kinds of projects you've been a part of and highlight what your specific role was and any challenges you faced. Oh, and don't forget to mention how you worked with other engineers, contractors, and stakeholders. Teamwork is super important in this field.
Makes sense. I mean, these are massive projects. Nobody's doing it all alone.
Right.
Okay, question 8 takes us into the world of regulations. Can you discuss your experience with regulatory compliance in mine development projects?
Yes. This is where you prove you're not just a smart engineer, you're also a responsible one. Talk about specific regulations you've had to follow, like the ones from MSHA or environmental agencies. Don't just say you follow the rules. Show them you understand why the rules exist and how you've applied them to your work.
So if you've ever gone above and beyond to make sure a project met environmental standards, this is the time to share that story.
Exactly. And be ready to talk about how you stay updated on changes in regulations. The mining industry is constantly evolving, so showing them that you're committed to continuous learning is key.
Got it. Okay, question 9. Can you discuss your experience with project team management in mine development projects? Sounds like they're looking for leadership qualities here.
Absolutely. This is your chance to show them that you're a great team player and a potential leader. Talk about specific strategies you use to manage teams, delegate tasks, keep people motivated, even how you deal with conflict. Real-world examples are gold here. Like, have you ever had a team member who wasn't pulling their weight? How did you handle that and get them back on track?
So it's not about pretending you've never had any problems as a leader. It's about showing how you overcame those problems.
Exactly.
Okay, final question from RoleCatcher's list. Can you discuss your experience with mine closure planning and execution?
This one's all about sustainability and responsible mining. Talk about the different phases of mine closure, what environmental things you have to consider, and how you've helped with successful closure projects in the past.
It's like thinking about the entire lifespan of the mine, from development all the way through to reclaiming the land.
Right. And be ready to discuss new trends in mine closure, like using tech for environmental cleanup or innovative reclamation techniques. This shows you're keeping up with the latest advancements.
So we've covered 10 common interview questions, but RoleCatcher's Guide has more than just the Q&A. They also provide some valuable career insights.
Oh, for sure.
What are some of those?
One thing they really stress is the importance of continuous learning and professional development. Getting a master's degree in mining engineering or becoming a licensed professional engineer can really help your career. But even taking specialized courses on things like mine ventilation design or ground control can show them that you're committed to staying ahead of the curve.
So it's about showing them that you're not just looking for a job, you're looking to build a career.
Exactly. And don't underestimate networking. Going to industry events, joining online forums, connecting with people on LinkedIn, these can all open up doors you never even knew existed.
It's all about making connections.
Yep. Talk to people who are already in the field, learn from what they've been through, and get their advice.
It's like getting a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Speaking of sneak peeks, RoleCatcher has this feature that can really give you an edge. Their employer database.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
What kind of information is in there?
It's packed with info about potential employers. You can find things like their company culture, what projects they're working on, how they're doing financially, even employee reviews.
Wow, it's like a company dossier.
Pretty much. This lets you tailor your answers and questions to each specific company, showing them that you've done your research and are genuinely interested in working for them.
So if you're interviewing with a company that's big on sustainability, you can highlight your experience in that area and ask them insightful questions about what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right.
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you polish those answers and questions. Their AI analyzes job descriptions and picks out the keywords and skills employers are looking for.
So it's like having a virtual assistant to help you say the right things.
Right. And it can even give you feedback on how you're speaking, helping you adjust your tone and pace to come across as confident and engaging.
All right, we've covered a ton in this deep dive into how to become a mine development engineer. We've gone over some tough questions, talked about how RoleCatcher's AI can help, and even got some career insights.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
You're well on your way to acing that interview. But prepping is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
What really makes someone stand out is being genuine
Yeah.
and having a real conversation, not just giving robotic answers.
Exactly. Think of it as a chance to show your passion for mining engineering.
Oh, yeah.
What excites you about this field? What problems are you most interested in solving? Let that enthusiasm show.
Because they're not just hiring a list of skills. They're hiring a person to join their team.
Right. And speaking of teams, here's another tip. Be ready to talk about your experience working with others. Mine development is a team effort. They want to see that you can communicate well, you respect different perspectives, and that you can help create a positive work environment.
So any examples where you led a team project or resolved a conflict, or even just contributed to a brainstorming session that led to a breakthrough, those are all good stories to share.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to show off those soft skills along with your technical expertise.
Yeah, things like communication, being able to adapt, and being a good problem solver, those are all super valuable. Okay, so we've talked about showcasing our skills and our personality. But what about actually answering those tricky questions?
Right.
Any last tips for handling those curveballs?
Here's a good strategy for any question. Take a moment to gather your thoughts before you answer.
Okay.
It's okay to pause for a few seconds to think about the question and put together a clear response.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rushing into an answer can make you ramble or miss important points.
Oh, yeah, I totally do that when I'm nervous. Start talking a mile a minute.
It happens to everyone. Just remember to breathe, take your time, and organize your answers logically. That STAR method we discussed earlier can really help with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Situation, task, action, result. It's a good framework for telling a clear story.
Yeah, exactly.
We've talked a lot about how RoleCatcher's resources can help you prepare, but what about during the interview itself? Do they have anything that can help you in the moment?
Actually, they do. They have this AI-powered feedback tool that you can use during a virtual interview.
Really?
Yeah, it gives you real-time insights on how you're doing.
Wow, that's amazing.
It analyzes your speech patterns, your tone, even your facial expressions
Wow.
to give you feedback on how you're coming across to the interviewer.
Hold on, it can analyze your facial expressions through the camera.
Yep. It can tell you if you're talking too fast, using too much jargon, or even if you're not smiling enough.
That's incredible. It's like having a coach whispering tips in your ear during the interview.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the best part is that it all happens discreetly in the background, so you can stay focused on the conversation and showing off your skills.
I wish I had that when I was interviewing. Would have saved me a lot of stress.
It's definitely a game changer. RoleCatcher's really going above and beyond to give job seekers the best tools and resources.
So we've talked about prepping, how to present yourself,
Yeah.
even getting real-time feedback. Anything else people should keep in mind as they head into that interview?
One last thought. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, an interview goes both ways. You're checking them out just as much as they're checking you out. So have some thoughtful questions ready about the company, the team, or the projects you'd be working on.
Exactly. It shows you're engaged, you did your research, and you're not just thinking about getting the job, you're thinking about if it's the right fit for you.
And you never know. Maybe your question will spark a conversation that leads to something unexpected.
Right. So go in with confidence, be curious, and show them you're ready to learn and contribute.
That's great advice. To all our listeners out there getting ready for those mind development engineer interviews, we wish you the best of luck.
Good luck.
And remember, RoleCatcher has a ton of resources to help you along the way.
And never forget, your passion for mining engineering is your biggest strength. Let it shine through, and you'll be on your way to landing that dream job.
And that wraps up our Mind Development Engineer Deep Dive.
Hope it was helpful.
We hope you found it useful. Until next time, happy digging.